Pitch Deck 101 LLC, out of New York, do more than just support our clients to pitch their businesses to investors access working capital at 0% APR. We also support our clients to grow and scale their businesses faster and cash flow optimize. Pitch Deck 101 LLC recent partnership with 10X Branding Marketing LLC and Global Capital Inc. out of the USA has enabled us to form unique partnership with multiple financial institutions, which means we can do even more to accelerate the success of our clients. Let Pitch Deck 101 LLC give you the support you need to pitch to investors, access capital, access new markets and grow, and scale your business. Contact us now on 332-235-1099 for a free consultation.
LLC, powering the next generation of unicorns. At 10X B&M LLC, we specialize in market research, brand innovation, market integration, and client conversion optimization. Our team of experts is dedicated to providing the strategic insights and innovative solutions needed to accelerate growth and unlock your company's full potential. Whether you're a startup looking to attract investors and your ideal clients, or an established business ready for market expansion, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC fuel your journey to exceptional business success. Contact us now for a free consultation on how we can position your business to become a unicorn.
All right.
All right. Welcome to a live broadcast of this initiative. Today, we're going to be looking at a pretty interesting topic. Yes, we are looking at relationship economics, but what exactly is relationship economics? Relationship economics is a platform that truly enables you to build wealth. So whether you're in business or you are a private equity investor, this platform is designed to expose you to a lot of rich information that is going to enable you to truly understand what is the wealth builder's blueprint. So before the end of today's program, or before the end of the introduction, I'm going to give you some good insight as to what the wealth builder's blueprint is all about. But today I have a number of talented personalities here with me, and you will be hearing from them. We have Roland Hudson, and Roland Hudson, he is an expert in his field, and he focuses a lot on health and nutrition. And one of his key focuses is to ensure that he can provide people with the kind of information that will help them to live and lead a better quality of life. We also have Dr. Clement Frank, and Dr. Clement Frank, he is an economist by profession. He is a serial author, and he is also a professional when it comes to applying the John Maxwell thesis. Along with that, we have Peter Scott, and Peter Scott, he is out of New York. He represents Power Investment LLC. He wears many hats, but he is a consultant. He works with rising stars who wants to build a brand, particularly so in the field of helping people to write their book and to get their books to the bestseller list. So we have a dynamic range of persons who are here today. So I definitely want to give a big shout out to people who are going to be viewing this program from around the world. So I'm going to just ask each party to give a short introduction, and then I'll get into the program from there. Roland, can you give us a short introduction?
Yes, sure. As you know, my area of effectiveness is basically dealing with health and wellness. And this encompasses fasting, lifestyle changes, supplementation, those kind of things that we incorporate. We also do cold pressed juices, which is part of our detox program. Um, so what we do, persons who may be challenged with life-threatening diseases, or we call lifestyle diseases, we can help them to reclaim their inner terrain and to restore back their life and to give them a much needed second chance. So basically, that's what I'm focusing on presently, and that's what I've been doing for the last 20 plus years. So it's been a little while, and that is my that is what keeps me up every day, seeing
Right.
people healthy. Yeah.
Roland, I must say, it's such a pleasure to have you here to share your knowledge, because I do believe that your skill set, your knowledge set is relevant and is applicable to people all over the world. Whether you're in business or you're in politics or you're in leadership, it's important to understand um, health-related issues that can, optimize the quality of your life. But we will come back to you shortly. Frank, can you give a short introduction?
Hi everyone. I'm a tall person, so short. My name is Clement Frank. I'm Frank by name and nature. I am an economist, a writer, and most of all, I'm the founder of Catalyst Leadership Network. It's an organization that helps to develop and train and mentor young people, business people, everyone who wants to be mentored and be trained to be a leader. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks for that share, Frank. Peter Scott, can you give us a short introduction?
Yes, sir. So thankful again, Gary, and I must again acknowledge the investment of your time. From the time that I've known you over about 8 years now, your entire
It's
focus
about 10 years, Peter. It's
about
about 10 years. I did the maths.
see what I mean. The time do fly, right? But you know, a decade after
Yeah, it's a
a
decade.
decade, you have not changed in terms of you're always looking for new ways, innovative ways by which you can empower the community, empower the everyday Joe to change his world, to enter into a space where they can be more valuable in the marketplace. So I must say, even this platform that you have here this afternoon, I must say thank you so much, and thank you for the invite as well. My background, first of all, I am a minister of religion. I believe very much into getting individuals their eternal life in order after death. We do not know. Nobody has been there to come back and tell the story, but the scripture does tells us that life does continue after death. So much of my focus is to get our community to understand about the value of their spirituality. But while we are on our way to heaven, a lot of people that we engage, they are having hell on earth. And so we begin to restructure over the past, about past 20 years. We look at how do we get the church community, the Christian community, to understand entrepreneurship? How do we get individuals to understand how money works? And so out of that, we started the Master Authors Academy. And of more recent times, we have initiated Power Investors LLC. And the whole point is that we want individuals to understand that they themselves is an asset. Their knowledge is an asset. It's called intellectual property. And we can get individuals to place a value on intellectual property, then eventually it can enable them to own real properties, real estate, and everything else that comes in the world, economics and business. So that's our focus. And we're thankful working with you, Gary. We're able to do a great deal even here in the United States, in the New York area.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. I want to begin today's broadcast by focusing on the topic. Today we are looking at Wealth Builders Blueprint. That will be my talking point. And the objective here is to ensure that at the end of my presentation, you can start to position yourself to think like wealth builders. Now, one of the things that we want to also focus on is that any attempt to build wealth, it makes sense to understand what we call the relationship economy, relationship economics, because that's what's going to give you a tremendous competitive advantage. Now, as you focus on relationship economics, there's one thing that I want you to focus on, and that is how to scale quality relationships. So the key focus is how to build and scale quality relationship. Now, just before I get into that topic, I want to say this. The average person focusing on building wealth, if your key focus is just on the dollar sign, is just on the money, you are already at a disadvantage. All right. The wealth builders, they have a blueprint, and that blueprint begins by investing time, talent, and resources into building healthy, productive relationships. And I want to give a few examples here today. I want you to imagine that you're a doctor and you have another colleague who is also a doctor. And I want you to pause to ask yourself if that is a scalable combination of people. Yes, they may be doctors, they may be able to do the research to assess the viability of the field that they're in, but standalone, is it a viable group of people? It is scalable. Now, what we have seen, if when two doctors, two engineers, two mechanics stand together alone, it is not a scalable. So we're talking here today about scalable quality relationships. So what can you do to ensure that relationship is not just quality, but is scalable? In the context of a doctor, the doctors will now have to identify critical stakeholders that will position their brand to be scalable. For example, what are some of the things that a doctor may need to position themselves to be scalable? Well, they may need subject matter experts in marketing, because it is the subject matter expert, that subject matter expert, that will help them to increase visibility, reach, and impact, optimize client conversion, make impact, and cash flow optimize the business. So what relationship economics is saying, in attempting to scale quality relations, it's about identifying the essential group of persons that you want to bring into your quality circle. Of course, in this context, we are talking business. And in business, the key focus is about adding value, and it's about optimizing that process to significantly increase the cash flow of the business. So for a doctor, you may need persons like experts who are in marketing. You may need private equity investors. Why? Because the private equity investors may come in and they may help you to acquire a building. Why? Because they may be able to put the capital in to help you to accomplish that. Because if you want to do a healthy practice, these are some of the things that you would need to focus on. So what relationship economic does, it helps you to understand the environment that needs to be created to push you further faster in your wealth building journey. In other words, relationship economics is like what we call the factors of production. Now, when we look at the factors of production, we are seeing land, we are seeing labor, we are seeing capital, we are seeing enterprise. And to be successful in business, these things must come together. To be successful in your wealth building journey, these things must come together. And that is exactly what relationship economics looks like. Now, I'm going to give you some additional step by step, but I just want to give a few examples before I get into the step by step processes that you can use to help you to apply this concept that we are now calling relationship economics. Now, I want to give a second example, and we're talking here about scaling quality relation. Let us suppose that you're a real estate agent. As a real estate agent that stands alone, is that scalable? Is it scalable? And my answer is no. The research is also showing that many real estate agents, even in the United States of America, they are not living what I would want to say, they are not exceptional millionaires. They are not multimillionaires. They are not multi-billionaires. All right, because stand alone, it is not scalable. So what relationship economics say is that as a real estate agent, you need to start thinking like a real estate investor. You have to start thinking of how to own income producing assets. Now, for that to happen, you also need to attract some essential skill sets next to you. For this to work, you may need to connect with, again, lawyers. All right. As a real estate agent who is becoming a real estate investor, that's where the money flow. You may need to connect with lawyers. You may need to connect with private equity investors. You may need to connect with developers, because when you bring all of these persons into your ecosystem, it is what gives you the leverage. All right, the leverage to fast track the cash flow process. It's what gives you the leverage to cash flow or optimize your wealth building journey. So, to summarize what I'm saying, the way wealth builders think, the key focus is not on the money. The key focus is on the quality relationships. All right. And what they do, they focus on their strengths and they identify the other essential strengths that is necessary to achieve targeted end results. And part of that targeted end results is to build wealth. So what I'm going to do now in summarizing today's presentation, I want to give a few simple steps that you need to consider when you want to scale quality relations. Step one, it's important for you to position yourself to be a big thinker that has a clear vision. A big thinker that has a clear vision. Now, let us suppose that you want to go deeper into real estate investment. You just don't want to think about owning a single family unit. It may not be enough to inspire the right people to come into your network. But let us suppose that you're now thinking about 50 units, 150 units, 1,000 units. That has the ability to pull people in because you're now thinking big and you have a clear vision. Now, once you position yourself to be that big thinker that has a clear vision, the next step is to identify your role in this whole equation. What is your role? Are you going to be the person managing the portfolio? Are you going to be the person focusing on the capital allocation? Are you going to be you want to clearly define your role in the whole equation here. All right. And this is how you find those persons who are involved in building wealth. This is how they think. Now, as you define your role, I also want to say this, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. All right. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but you can be the person in the room who has the connection, who is able to bring people together to achieve the vision that you have in mind. All right. And that can be your role. All right. I might be an expert in project management. I might be an expert in capital markets, but I'm not an engineer. But from my standpoint, I'm seeing that my involvement in construction requires engineering knowledge. Now, I don't have to be the person to understand engineer. I don't have to be the person practicing engineer. But guess what? I know my role. And my role is to bring these critical stakeholders to the table, because I know that, hey, I'm going to be invested in real estate and I need to have an engineer to certify the project integrity. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. So it's for you to identify your specific role in this process. You want to be very clear on this. It is the absence of being clear about this that creates the challenge. All right. Now, so the first two things that we look at is, one, you must be a big thinker and you must have a clear vision. And I just want to go back to clear vision because I think it is so important to emphasize the importance of having a clear vision. A clear vision means that you're able to see the beginning, the end, and I would normally say the in between of a process. In project management, we talk about a concept that we call the WBS, and that's a work breakdown structure. And what that work breakdown structure allows you to do is to see all the moving parts for a project by timeline, by material, and possibly by cost. So you're able to see this entire project. You have a clear vision because you have your WBS, and you want to bring yourself to this point where you can see all of the moving parts of a project. I want to show you that this is part of the wealth builder's blueprint. All right. They understand how to apply clear thinking, how to apply visionary thinking to their efforts to build wealth. And that is what sets them up to win. The second concept, you must know your role. Again, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. All right. You can be the project manager, but you are not a private equity investor. You are not the engineer. So that now brings me to the third part. And if you follow these steps, I want to promise you that you will see the results, because these are some of the processes that we are applying internationally. All right. Because of these processes, we are now partnering with some of the biggest financial institutions in the world, where we're able now to provide capital in 50 states throughout the United States of America. It is because of these very systems. All right. So the third step, you want to identify key stakeholders. So if you know you are going to be going into real estate development, again, you're not the engineer. You may be the project manager. You may just be the project owner. You just have the vision of what you want. But in identifying key stakeholders, It simply means that you're identifying all of the critical human, technical, capital resources to achieve that vision that you have, which it might be to start and develop a multifamily units, to start and develop, gated communities. Uh, You identify the critical stakeholders to make that vision happen. And these are the critical stakeholders that you're pulling into your quality circle. So earlier, when I spoke about scalable quality relationship, this is the way you have to be thinking when you want to be bring a quality team of people together that is scalable. All right, you're bringing the essential human, technical, and capital resources together to move that vision forward. And that's what we talk about here: identify key stakeholders. So, in real estate development, you will need engineers. You would perhaps need legal minds. You will also need those who are financial specialists who may be able to help you to navigate debt, credit, creative financing, and possibly hard money lending. These are all leverage. All right. These are all critical resources that you would need to move any project forward. Now, what if you have all of these critical stakeholders in your quality circle? What if? And I want to say to you, it's not just what if. I'm happy to say to you that we at Global Capital Inc., we have a community with over 130 members. That's just one community. I know from Peter's side, we have another community with over 500 members. And each of those members have essential skill sets. But very often, you are not developing the type of relationship with the people right there in your quality circle. All right. So I want to assure that this is how wealthy people think. This is how wealth builders think. And I'm giving you the blueprint. All right. You don't have to have the money. You don't have to have the skill. You don't have to have the know-how. But when you surround yourself with some of the smartest, brightest people, because you have a network, you have group economics. Each one is supporting each one to reach the highest good. But you need to be clear on identifying the critical stakeholders. Now, let me come to step 4. You see, in relationship economics, is not an individual sport. It is collective efforts. So the 4th step, you must be able to nurture collective gains. All right. The way that you must be thinking is not me, myself, and I. The gain must not be selective and individual gains. The gains must be collective. So you are achieving your dream of building multifamily units. You're developing your dreams of, starting your gated community, and you're leveraging the skill sets of those around you. But you're also ensuring that each one of them win. Now, the method of approach that they're going to be using to win, it is something that we will go deeper into. For your team, perhaps with your project, what if you have profit sharing? Profit sharing ensures that everyone owns a piece of the estate. We call them equity investors. But as time progresses, I'll go deeper into all of that. I just want to give these high-level overview for now. Now, the last concept that I want to share in relationship economics is the wealth builder's blueprint, it is important to also focus on what we call sustainable investment in relationship. And I want you to recognize how oftentimes emphasizing this term relationships, because in economic relationship, you have grown beyond transaction and you are now focusing on ways to master healthy, productive relationships that represents the interests of the collective. It's not about the money anymore. Wealth builders know it's not about the money. It's about the quality relationships that you're building and how you can up level the quality relationships to bring benefits to the collective. So in business and in life, in your wealth building journey, if you are not thinking about how to form quality relationships, you're already at a disadvantage. All right. You're at a massive disadvantage if you're thinking about transaction and you're thinking about being the lone wolf in business. All right. You have to position yourself to understand what is the relationship economics. So I'm going to pause there for now. I can see Minister Joel is with us. I'm going to bring him up shortly. But what I'll do, I'll pause now. I'll go for a short commercial break. And then when I come back, I will have a conversation with Peter, who's out of the US. And then we get into the program. So I'll be back shortly.
Win LLC, out of New York, do more than just support our clients to pitch their businesses to investors access working capital at 0% APR. We also support our clients to grow and scale their businesses faster and cash flow optimize. Pitch Deck 101 LLC recent partnership with 10X Branding Marketing LLC and Global Capital Inc. out of the USA has enabled us to form unique partnership with multiple financial institutions, which means we can do even more to accelerate the success of our clients. Let Pitch Deck 101 LLC give you the support you need to pitch to investors, access capital, access new markets and grow and scale your business. Contact us now on 332-235-1099 for a free consultation.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. And of course, what I want to say just before I bring Peter up, I want to say that at Global Capital Inc., we have a very vibrant community that we're growing. In fact, we have multiple communities. But in that community, I want to say that if you're a rising star in business and you need access to capital, regardless of which state you're living in the US, all 50 states, we're able to get capital to you. All right. And there's so much more. All right. If you need technical support to grow and scale your business, you have a network of people there to give you that support. All right. As time progresses, I'll go deeper into all of that. But I want to also pause a bit just to thank our viewing audience from around the world. I can see that we have over 380 plus persons on one platform. We are currently broadcasted on multiple platforms. And I think when I calculate all the figures, we have in excess of 1,000 persons who are here with us at the moment. So I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. Now, I want to turn to Peter. Peter, how are you, my friend?
Doing great, Gary. Doing excellent. Beautiful, beautiful company.
Awesome. All right. What do you want to share with the audience today in terms of Power LLC, Power Investment LLC? And I think it's about a year and change ago, we decided to invest some capital and time behind this operation. You want to start having that conversation and I'll come in with you?
Certainly, Gary, because I remember you and I were walking through the community, or local community here in Brooklyn, and we were just looking at how various individuals, their knowledge level concerning literacy, or even understand how to manage their mortgages. Individuals are well, very much, I would say, clueless concerning very basic understanding that they should have in how they should manage themselves fiscally. And you also mentioned that you had done some research which show that you have individuals who are highly professional, highly educated, but they're still living from paycheck to paycheck. And
Yeah.
of those conversations, we realize that there's a deep knowledge gap in getting our everyday individuals that we meet to understand how they should manage their finances as an investor. Not just to get it with one hand and it is spent in the other hand, it's what they do with it. And so you and I, that is where Power LLC was birthed, because the intention is to bring that essential knowledge for the basic individuals, for individuals to understand the basic understanding of how money works, and not just to have a theoretical understanding, but then how to apply that knowledge where they can actually walk through the various stages and to become legitimate investors in the marketplace.
Yeah. Thanks for that share, Peter. And you're so right. I do believe that one of the things that we talk about so often is that you could be in America, you can be living in America and still experience challenges. Why? Because tremendous challenges, in spite of the fact that everybody wants to get to America. What I've learned is that living in America means that you must understand the economic systems in America. And part of understanding the economic system is understanding the financial markets. So you find people who are Americans, but then they don't understand what is debt and how to leverage debt. Um, and those are things that Power Investment LLC wants to do. So one, we're engaging with persons who wants to buy their first home, but what we tend to see is that very often the capital that is required to get that home ownership process started, they don't have the capital, and they don't know how to, leverage financial markets to attain that. So some of the things that I'm certain that Power Investment LLC will be doing is one, once those persons have a healthy FICO score, we can immediately leverage that to help them to get access to that seed funding to get into home ownership. In the case where their FICO score is weak, in our community, we have persons like David who can also help them to fix those credit. So Power LLC, just to let the public know, is going to be really helping persons from the U.S. standpoint for now to really understand the U.S. capital markets and the limitless possibilities that exist, and is the practical steps that they can take to really up level those possibilities. One of the things that we're going to be bringing a lot through the Power Investment LLC is what we call the group economics. And here again is where we're going to bring people together. We're going to help them to see a common vision and to ensure that they understand that vision and they're all working together to position themselves for success. Now, in closing, what I want to say, you're correct. Even living in the United States of America, a single source of income is not enough. For the majority of people, a single source of income is not enough. So it makes a whole lot of sense, whether you're in the US or the Caribbean or anywhere in the world, to understand what we call the wealth builder's blueprint.
Mhm.
Because trading your time for money is going to limit how far you go.
Right.
But when you understand how to leverage money to work for you,
Mhm.
there is where the magic begins to take place, because now you're trading your time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you also have capital that is being leveraged in a prudent way to ensure that you're earning even when you sleep.
Mhm.
So Power Investment LLC is going to be opening up this body of knowledge to persons in the US to really help them to better understand how to up level, leverage the opportunities that they have right in front of them, as a game changer to position themselves to start get on that well building journey.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to pause there for now. Anything else you want to share, Peter?
Yes, Gary, because the U.S. is a nation of immigrants, and so what we do find is a lot of individuals are migrating into the United States without understanding how the economics of the U.S. work. That it is based upon a credit economy, and it's when an individual doesn't understand how credit works, that is where a lot of individuals fall into trouble, because once they make a few bad purchases and they run into what is called bad credit, then it is just a downward spiral financially. And I think that is where a lot of the problems are coming from, because individuals are coming into the community and they do not understand the fiscal language and the dynamics by which they can really build themselves financially. So this is where Power LLC will be communicating. For right now, we're looking at churches. We're going into churches. We're building. And I was just listening to what you were saying about the group dynamics and relationship economics, and that is where the our focus, that is a big part of our focus now, to empower individuals, to everybody bring their skill sets, use it, using the Caribbean, a Caribbean strategy where to generate money. Everybody in the Caribbean know about susu, so in the same sense, we're saying, just as our individuals know about pooling money, it is good when we also pool talents. And when we pool talents, then we can borrow from each other. We can create something that is so much more dynamic, and we all can lift each other out of poverty. Thank you, Gareth, for so much for what you're doing.
Yeah, my brother. Welcome anytime, Peter. But just on one point, you're right that America is a country of immigrants, and the financial literacy level of immigrants may be not on par to some extent. But I also want to add that what I'm finding, Peter, even Americans
Yeah,
don't fully understand the credit
yeah,
system.
right.
Um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we have millions and millions of Americans from the data that we're pulling that are in bad need
Yeah.
of help to manage their debt portfolio. And what I will do perhaps next week, I will take a deep dive into what it takes to, you know, survive and navigate a world of credit, which is definitely part of the United States ecosystem. And they're built on credit. But the thing about it is that we have to help people to understand is how to leverage credit, not as a liability, but as an asset.
That's it.
In that case, we have to go into things like what is the billing cycle, how to exit the debt before the billing cycle, and things like that is what we will talk about perhaps next week. But I like the points that you have shared, and Power Investment LLC has a lot to work to do moving forward. Thanks for that share. All right, what I want to do, I want to bring up Roland. And Roland, for us to talk a bit about health-related issues, I want to open up the floor. I mean, what is resting on your mind in relation to health and enhancing human performance? I know in the workplace, uh, we need optimum performance, but very often, if you are not, focusing on your health the way you ought to, you're downgraded. What's on your mind in this regard, Roland?
Yeah, just a second. Right. Yeah, sorry about that. But there's a lot of deep concerns, and I'm talking from our platform here in Guyana is that uh, we are coming across so many persons that are becoming diabetic even in their young age, which was once considered old people's sickness, being diabetic. And I'm referring to onset diabetes. This is that these are people who get diabetes in their 50s and the 60s. But what we see an alarming amount of young people who are becoming diabetic also, and that is an area, a big area of concern, not just for us in the health and wellness industry, but also for the country at large, because if we have in a population that in their most productive years are being plagued by these what we call metabolic diseases, then what kind of workforce are we going to have? Because younger persons are being diagnosed on a daily basis, um, and that is a major concern for the healthcare system in our country. That's going to put a tremendous burden on a healthcare system that is on strain already. Go ahead. Yeah, somebody's asking a question. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, especially here in Guyana, what we're seeing is that, and this is something that I was up to recently. I was having a conversation is that we're having a lot of young men parading the streets of Georgetown in offices, workplaces, and even in the gym. Seem to be kind of already huge midsection, and they seem to be rather comfortable with it. And it's something that I've always I've always wondered, how could you at that young age, in your 20s and 30s or even younger, have a huge midriff and being overweight, and then you consider yourself as being healthy. Um, that that equation doesn't work. And I'm wondering, why is it that people wait until, especially Guyanese, we wait until we crash and burn, then we're looking for solutions. But with all that said, there's a lot of information out there on health and wellness, and sometimes you can go into what we call a situation whereby information overload. So just to break it down quickly, last week I spoke about your terrain, your inner terrain. This is the environment in which your cells, your tissues, your organs, and everything operates in. And we would like we would like people to understand that it's important to it's important to be cognizant of the signs and your body is telling you things that your body is preparing you for, that you're not listening to, that you're not au fait with. And that is understood to a point, but you have to start listening to your body biological to prevent or to offset problems later down in your life. And I make reference to, you were talking just now about having relationships with or synergy with, with companies and stuff like that. But it's the same can be applied to how you eat and live, how you exercise, or if you don't exercise, and what could be the outcome from having a lifestyle that is sedentary, a lifestyle that is not focused on healthy living, healthy practices, a lifestyle that is focused on sleep deprivation, which can lead to a whole host of other problems. So there's a lot right now that I'm presently involved in terms of research, and we are seriously looking at because we also deal with our own health issues. We come from a family where both parents on both sides are diabetic and hypertensive. So uh, this we want to put an end to that. We don't want our generation of young people in our family to be burdened with those kind of sicknesses. So that's what we're presently focusing on right now, especially where diabetes and pressure are concerned.
Can we look at some preventative measures? I think that many persons wait until they're at the last stage. They wait until there is an emergency to address these matters. Can you talk a little bit about some preventative um, measures?
Okay, yeah,
Perhaps,
yeah, I'll go. Sorry, go ahead, Gary. I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah, no, I was just saying some preventative measures. Perhaps you might want to look at perhaps, regular checkups. I don't know. But what are some preventative measures that you recommend that persons focus on?
All right, couple of things. We need to read labels carefully, especially where our foods are concerned. Uh, we need to go back a little more to our what we call the eating, and in terms of how we prepare our foods. We need to have more wholesome foods in our diet. So we're looking here at preventative measures to bring you to a state of healthy balance. Um, a lot of our foods now are being well, basically our food industry is being usurped by the fast food industry, and everything now is just run on sugar. Sugar, as we know, is highly addictive. It's highly destructive to our bodies. Our bodies weren't designed for sugar in the first place, um, and it can lead to a host of serious metabolic disorders. All right. So some of the simple preventative measures that we're looking at is we need to get back people to a state whereby they can start exercising. The simple things. I could give you an example. I've been um, doing fitness walks with many groups around the country, and I also do my own fitness walk, which I would do on a daily basis, just to maintain proper weight management and health. And I can literally count the amount of people that have joined me for the last 10 years on my journey, just walking 2 or 3 miles every day. And in most times, I make those walks by myself. And if I do have company, it would be my wife or a friend next door. And in the last 10 years, I can count the people who have joined me. And it hasn't reached double figures. So what is that telling me? That is telling me that people are not putting interest in their health. People are not paying attention to what they eat or the lifestyle challenges that face them and the choices that they make. So these are areas of big concern, massive concern for us, because one of the things in our consultation, we offer suggestions on how to reclaim your terrain, how to become healthy again, how to go back to the old-fashioned way of cooking your food and preparing it. Instead of eating out of a container that is on a shelf in a supermarket, why not prepare the same food for yourself in your kitchen? Put the energy in it, put the love in it. Those are the ingredients that is necessary for healthy living, for healthy foods. So that's some of the things that we stress a lot on.
All right, thanks for that share, Roland. Um, Roland, I know we talk about these topics from time to time. Um, do you think that corporate leaders focus on these health-related issues as relates to enhancing work workforce performance? Do you think that they put enough emphasis on it? Because, as we would say, an unhealthy worker is undermining productivity and profitability, productivity of that organization. What is your research saying about it?
All right. For one thing, we know that especially where Ghana is concerned, and this goes for a generation of leadership that we have had for the longest while. Um, but our leaders are not focusing on health. And I will give you an example of what I'm talking about. Um, the supplementations that we deal with, even the foods that sometimes you have to import, um, which we use in our juicing. These people put tremendous taxation on these things. So if you want to promote health in your country, I think one of the most impactful thing that you can do is start looking at the reduction of taxation on these things. And our leaders continue to miss that particular point. That is not even mentioned in any budget debate. And I can look at a lot of our leaders for over the past 20 years, and I can tell that we have leaders who are seriously constipated. I just look at the midriff and I know that they're not healthy. So if our leaders are not healthy, what do you expect from a nation that looks up to these people and want to emulate them in all aspects of their lives? I mean, having a fancy home and driving an expensive vehicle doesn't make you healthy. So definitely that's an issue here because we look at just look at our young children, what's going on with them in our schools. Go to any one of the nurseries, and this is a discussion I had with Joe a couple of weeks back. Um, just open the lunch kits of these kids that go to school and see exactly what is packed inside. There's nothing healthy inside of them. Just basically dead foods. So those are some of my concerns.
Okay. All right. I trust that the listening public is taking notes. Um, as we focus on the well builder blueprint, we tend to look at it from a comprehensive standpoint, while our key focus here is about providing essential information to help businesses to make better, smarter, wiser decisions and to give people a blueprint to build wealth. Of course, we are talking health because it doesn't make sense to build wealth and then your health is not, in a good place and good standing. So some of the things I'm taking away, Roland, you talk about exercise um, being a good preventative measure. And I really trust that persons can adopt uh, a better, healthier lifestyle that will complement a better quality of life. Anything else you want to share, Roland, before we move on?
Yeah, just quickly, there are encouraging signs coming out from the United States with respect to the demands that are being made now and offering people an alternative to what has been operating for the last 100 years. Um, with respect to the food pyramid, we see that there's a paradigm shift in how people are eating, and that has been. I mean, I must give a little praise to the Trump administration with respect to turning the food pyramid upside down, because that itself has been a death trap for so many people for so many years, not just in America but around the world. Um, the other takeaway we can also have with that is that doctors now they are requiring doctors now to have um, a stint in studying nutrition as against just making it a cursory look at and then move on. So they have to spend quite a number of months on doing nutrition as part of their medical travel. And I think that will go a big way now because the doctors of the future are going to be the nutritionists of the future. Those are the kind of people that we're going to be having instead of having doctors who are just basically treating symptoms. We're going to have a breed of people who are going to be treating the problem from its source. And I think we're going to just definitely have greater results. We're going to have a healthier population, but we can start in our own country and in our own communities, in our own churches. We can start with our people that we are connected with. Even in our little group that we have here, we can help. We can share information. We can give advice. Looking at my good friend across who I just met today in the cold of the United States, I'd like to know that that brother can remain healthy and wiser as he gets older. I mean, gets younger, and be with us for a much longer time, because there's much more that you can contribute to what we are learning here. And even my brother Gary, I look across him, I want to make sure that my brother stays healthy. We have a responsibility to each and every one of us. We are our brother's keeper, and you have information, and the purpose of having information is to share so you can make people's lives better. You can also improve your life by making other people's lives better. I believe in that strongly.
All right, thanks for that share, Roland. And as
Here,
time progressed, Peter, go ahead.
it's just something that Roland said a while ago that is so ironic, that doctors need to study nutrition. As simple as that is being said, but the question is, what have they been studying all along if they're not studying? And nutrition has to do with optimal health.
Yeah.
So if over the past 50 years, or goodly trusted white lab folks with a stethoscope around their necks haven't been studying nutrition, then what have they been doing? What have they been studying?
It's funny that you should ask it, because that's a question that is on everybody's lips. What doctors have been studying? And basically what they've been studying is an absence of nutrition. All right, that's treating the symptom. We're not getting to the causative factors that are contributing to ill health. So if someone is deficient in, let's say for example, if someone is diabetic, it's not that they have a metformin deficiency. It's just that they have excess glucose in the blood that is not being transported to the cells of the body. So once we understand the causative factors, we can then treat the problem, not the symptom. The symptom is not a problem. The symptom is just an expression of what is going on inside.
Wow.
Great. Well, we have a lot of talking to do on this point, and I think we have to some extent take a fair degree of ownership, and as time progresses, we will also talk about organic foods, because I do believe that once we can adopt a more conscious approach in terms of what we eat, then optimizing our health. So there's a lot for us to go into as time progresses on this particular subject matter. We need to talk more about food traceability. We want to have traceability from the farm to the fork, so you know what you're actually eating and putting into your body. And today, what we have seen is that the soil, the nutrients from the soil, it is down regulated significantly. It's depleted. The minerals is not there because of the fertilization. So there's so much for us to unpack. And again, as I said, while we talk about wealth, we will talk about wealth, but we will also talk about health, because we want you to be healthy and wealthy, wealthy and healthy.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Thanks for that share, Roland. And Roland, I know as time progresses, we will talk, about the commercial side of things, because I know yourself and your wife, you're actively involved in producing these organic juices, and I know that we have to do some more talking in terms of how we can get to mass production and mass distribution. At least that would be one pebble being dropped in the water that can create a positive ripple effect. Giving persons access to what we call organic fruit juices, organic food that can go a far way in enhancing the quality of life. So we're just scratching the surface. There's a lot for us to go into, but thanks for that share.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. All right, I want to bring up Dr. Frank to really give us a walkthrough on some issues relating to leadership. Dr. Frank, are you hearing me? Dr. Frank, are you there? You're mute. All right, in this case, I will come right over to Joel. But just before I get to Joel, I want to again acknowledge the audience. We are currently broadcasting across multiple platforms, and we are reaching over 50 countries. So I want to thank our viewing and listening audience who are here with us this afternoon. And I trust that you're getting a fair degree of benefits from the conversations that we're having here today. With that being said, Joel, he is actively involved in IT. And one of the things that we talked about last week is that if you're not adopting information technology to your business, you're at a disadvantage. All right. So I want to start that conversation. Roland, I just see someone complimenting your statement. They say what you eat affects your energy, mood, focus, and strength. Strong statement. All right, Joel, all to you. What's on your mind in terms of technology and how technology can give business the competitive advantage?
Hi, Gary. Just let me know that you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, it's truly been an amazing week, I would say, in the tech space. And it seems like every week would just be amazing because of the amount of things that are launched and, coming out of a period where CES, consumer electronics show in the US, even though we are not there, the opportunity to connect to that show has been made available to us globally. And it's truly been amazing, some of the things that were launched this year. And for businesses to be able to use platforms to show forth what has been happening with their business, to show forth, new ideas that they have and to scale. What I really took note of is that some of the businesses within the CES for this year, while they do not have ready products to bring to market this year, they've already created workable prototypes. So they were there and they were using the momentum of the atmosphere that was there and, really soaking up the environment to get their word out about what they're going to do for, the next 5 years, the next 3 years, the next 2 years, and really allow people to understand what such a market would bring. And it caused me to think about what an environment like that would look like in our region, the Caribbean. We've had trade shows, trade fairs, and a number of things. But what about the launch of, tech fairs or tech shows? What we've had here is not much of a drive towards understanding how innovation works in consumer electronics, but more so just I would say persons just caught up in the frenzy of what a developing nation can provide, and not really looking too deeply at how they can be a part of that from a different perspective. I was recently telling somebody that, hey, access has been made right now to one of two groups or to a few groups. And I was looking to see if there were any persons within those groups who had that drive to present something other than the base niche of that group. In terms of, let's say you were in real estate, most of the persons there are real estate. Let's say you were in retail, most of the persons would have been in retail. But I'm not seeing like another person, who has an alternative market that can complement some of those things being plugged in. So I was saying, wow, the opportunity is it's so great right now for innovation within our country because there is room, there is scope. There is also a great need base. Persons need it, businesses need it. All right. And we have to be able to really do our part in presenting this value because the rate at which the country grows, especially now in terms of being, coined as the fastest growing country in the world or developing country in the world, and having real estate and oil and gas and all of these different things happening, you would have hoped that it was moving on a vehicle such as innovation. However, it's just moving. It's just moving.
Yeah,
And
Joe,
hello, you can hear
just
me?
a good. Yeah, I'm hearing you, but
Wonderful.
I'm hearing you and I'm feeling you, and I just want to ask a question. What do you think is the greatest challenge
Hmm.
to adopting technology and having things happen the way you would like it to see? What do you think is the greatest challenge to that? Is it the will? Is it the knowledge? Is it capital? What is the greatest challenge?
Yeah, I think I would even go a bit deep into what you would have mentioned there because you have to come to the understanding or the realization that it may not be exactly as you want it to. It may surpass or exceed your expectation. What we found in innovation is that just a simple push or the implementation of a single thing can take you exponentially above what your expectation was. You may have thought about a 4% increase or a 10% increase, which might be excellent in the market, and then technology does something like a 20-25%. And what you have to ask yourself now is, am I ready for that kind of growth? I think what some businesses have really thought of is, am I ready? Are we ready for that kind of growth? But instead of doing what is necessary to accommodate a technological drive, you found that some persons just ignore it altogether. Like, you know what, we're not ready for it right now. But what is happening globally? What is happening, nationally? Why is it that, you're not focused on really getting there? I
Mhm.
think more persons need to look at, really getting the bet the right kind of consultations for that shift. All right. And understanding what that shift is. I would
I
say,
like that.
yeah, I was,
I like that point, consultation,
yeah.
because what I'm thinking, Joel, is that, you know, about 2, 3 years ago, I am on international platforms and
Mhm.
they are talking about the metaverse. And beyond talking about the metaverse, they were investing in real estate assets on the metaverse. And that
Mhm.
was way back then. Even today in the Caribbean, we are not fully discussing the metaverse.
Mhm.
What I've seen is that The developed world, they are many years ahead in terms of technology. So I think to introduce it in developing economies, perhaps we might have to look at nugget size information. Um, sometimes, as I listen to, influencers around the world, sometimes they say you have to dumb down your language,
Mhm.
dumb it down, and then build it up back. And I don't know if it's something that might be necessary, because what I want to say is that I know that what you're saying is so, so, so important, but
Mhm.
sometimes the language, the lingo, sometimes I think it goes over, it can go over people's head. But I know that what you're talking about is so important, because there's so much of technologies today that is on the market that anyone who adopts technology to your organization, you're not only reducing the time spent on developing your financial statement, you're not only reducing the time spent on developing your business plan, you're not only reducing the time developing, your website, um, you're reducing cost, all right, significantly. And any effort to reduce cost in doing business is going to significantly set that stage to help that business to uh, have more profits at the end of the day for
Yes.
the investment. So it's important what you're saying, um, but I'm going to open back the floor to you. I'm just acknowledging the importance of what you're saying, and I'm trusting that the public is really, leaning into what you're saying. And perhaps things that we would have to do as time progress, Joel,
Mhm.
is really create the communities. I know we have some communities already, but we're going to identify specific target groups that we can help to become more technology conscious in order to adopt the technology to the organization in a way to enhance productivity, competitiveness, and the scaling up of their businesses.
Yes.
But back to you, Joel.
Yes. And while you were talking there, Gary, I remembered looking at the World Economic Forum, looking at their recent, um, I would say, their recent take on innovation, where Larry Finch, and at one point he had Palantir's CEO, then another point he had Elon Musk, looked at, first he acknowledged the sheer scope of the tech business, right? That in all of his years, I mean, we know BlackRock, he's the CEO of BlackRock, right? And we know BlackRock has grown tremendously, managing a multi-trillion-dollar portfolio. And yet still he acknowledged that with all that he has been a part of, his growth was just in the 20 something percent, you know, and acknowledged that Palantir had about 70 something percent growth. And I think it was Tesla had about a 40 something to 50 something percent growth. And when you look at the sheer speed of what innovation has done and how fast companies are growing within that space, you can't just ignore the power that innovation has to a new business or an existing business. What I would tell persons is that, look, in understanding the value of innovation, try to first peel back and understand that in innovation is bringing new life to old things, bringing new life to something that has been pre-existent. And it could mean the death of something for the life of a new thing, right? It could mean transitioning. And sometimes that is just the problem, Gary. Some persons are just comfortable in the old way, that they don't want to move. For some persons, being sure or having security, and sometimes I just laugh when I say that word security, because security is almost dead in this time, right? You have to be able to adapt and innovate. You have to go beyond the bounds, beyond what you've found before, beyond what you've done before, because no single moment in a time will remain. You know, it will shift. The season will shift. The We saw what happened with the pandemic, and I was pleased to know I was speaking recently with the principal of one of the top, private schools in Georgetown, and she was saying, Joel, during the course of the pandemic, when many schools were shut, it was, school per normal for us because we had learned how to innovate, where they had a parallel school system. So they had the offline and then they had the online. So it was just saying, all right, guys, we're going to switch online today. And because they were already running a parallel system, where at any point where someone couldn't come into school, you could plug in online. It made it easy for them to do everything, all their activities except the physical activity online. All right. That can mean the life or death of a business, Gary. And what some persons have really tried to run away from is, how impactful technology can be. All right. And being able to really adopt. Look, take a moment, unplug from whatever you've been doing, try to really see the vision of your business, bring that vision before you again, and ask yourself, what is the next 5 or 10 years going to look like? Ask yourself what the next 5 or 10 years is going to look like without technology or without your company really being at the top or at the forefront, leading in what it's. I would ask some persons, look, let's say you found something significant. You found a significant problem and you were able to build on that problem to innovate. Your company was launched on that and it's now a premier company, or you now have a serious promise of success. Are you going to leave that into the hands of somebody else? Because that is what innovation, that is one peril to the lack of innovation. It's where you who have been blessed with the opportunity of solving a problem for somebody will now turn that over into the hands of another company, another group, somebody else who may not have your heart on the matter or your drive on the issue or your passion for the cause. For them, it may just be about the money. But because they had the ability to innovate or to get there faster, they took the market by storm. And you who have the heart for it, maybe you're a doctor who has developed something that you know can change lives or save lives. But all it took was for somebody else to do a little more research, to call a team of innovators together, to build something, to almost put you out of business because you're afraid of technology. Someone that might be focused on the money rather than focused on changing lives or saving lives. So are you going to leave that to somebody else? So it's not just a question of fear of innovation now. It's a question of how serious is the cause to you. All right.
Yeah. And I think some real case
in terms of
on your
why
point.
Is your cause really your cause now? Because you can lose it. Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, Volt is truth echoing that. It definitely is. It's not just moving faster, it's being able to.
I just want to share one point.
The same passion, the same
drive.
I
just want to share one point.
And solve the problem. Get the problem solved. All right. So if you have a passion for solving the problems, because that is why your business was formed in the first place. If you have a passion for solving the problem, then get there first. That is it. Get there first.
Great points, Joel. And I just want to share Are you hearing me? Are you guys hearing me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
You were hearing it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Joel made a point early on in terms of technology, and I just want to uh, bring to focus a real case scenario. There is Tony Robbins and his partner. I think his partner name is Dean Graziosi. It was at the beginning of the pandemic, and what Tony
Like I
Robbins
seem
has a
here,
platform that
here
reached
coming through.
hundreds of thousands and perhaps millions of people around the world. But with the pandemic, they were completely unable to optimize that process. They literally had to shut the operation down. But because of technology, Dean said to him, let's move from physical location, let's go virtual. And guess what? That was a transformational moment for that business. Just moving from a physical space into the virtual platform. Now, with Tony Robbins' platform, they are now reaching millions of people across the world because of that simple shift. So I just want to add that to what you were saying, Joel. What you're saying is very real, and I'm supporting what you're saying because if persons are able to really commit the time to understand technology and how technology can give them that competitive edge, it will set them up to really optimize their business process, which again is part of what we call the wealth builders blueprint. People who are building wealth like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, they understand technology and they are leveraging technology to their advantage. So, Joel, I know you was in and out, but I was just bringing some real case examples to the stories that you were saying. You're hearing me now? All right. For some reason, Joel is not hearing. Um, Try exiting and come back,
I can't hear
Joel.
you. Just let me know if you can hear me.
Loud and clear. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Oh my.
All right. All right. So we are coming up to the top of the second hour. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly recap some of what we talked about early on. And I'm going to give everybody a chance to um, throw in some of their closing remarks. Now, at the beginning of the program, we talk a lot about wealth builders blueprint. Now, any attempt to, Joel, are you hearing me?
Yes, buddy. Something crazy happened over here.
Okay, you're now back.
So I'm
All
back.
right. All right. All right. And I see Master Frank is also on stage. So, Master Frank, Joel, I'm going to give you a chance to just complete what you were saying, and then I'm going to come to Master Frank. I trust Master Frank seems to be having some technical difficulty this evening. But Joel, complete your trend of thoughts, and then I'm going to come to Frank, and then we're going to begin to wrap up. Frank, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right, I'll come right back to you shortly. Joel?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. So it's truly something when I think about innovation, because some persons feel because you're in tech, it's your duty. It's your duty to innovate. So you're telling me it's just Elon's duty to have all the money, or Palantir's duty to have all the Because if you really took a chance or took an opportunity to look at some of the videos, especially that on, some of these companies, you would realize that you may not agree with everything that people say. So, or everything that a company might do. So it means that you can have a voice, right? And innovation can give you a voice. It can give you a very loud voice because it can show that you're taking the opportunity to really position yourself in front of a space where people are going to take you seriously. All right. So, yeah, be encouraged. Let somebody take your business seriously. Let somebody take the idea that you have seriously by really getting in front of the audience and really letting them know what you are there to present. We all have something of value that somebody needs, right? And maybe it's just you finding an innovative way to get it there, right? So many things around us, we can make use of these things. And right now, it's for you to say, all right, what am I doing in my business that can really be automated or that I can do a bit differently to cause my business to scale? And if you can't find that in yourself, maybe you need to call someone who has the ability or who may have been doing that, right? And really saying, hey, say to them, hey, so I'm a bit stuck here. You got to be open, right? You say, I'm a bit stuck here and I believe my business has the potential. I believe the problem that I found is significant enough for a lot of people to run, with this solution. And I'm not getting these people. Then it might just be a shift of audience, right? You have to find where these people are. You have to get to that place and go out there, do your research, connect with you can connect with us. Connect with us, and let us help you, because getting there can be the difference between you really making it in 2026 and launching a new line of products or services connected to your business, or getting there could mean somebody else beating you to that race and you trying to figure out if your business is still relevant. The moment you're trying to figure out if your business is still relevant, that's the serious thing, right? It means you lost connection with value. And I add that innovation is value creation, right? So the moment you begin to think there, you've lost connection with value, and we should never be there in business. We should be so excited about the value that we are seeing right now that is coming from us or coming from our businesses or what we're presenting to the world, that we just want to connect with more people. We just want to get it out there. We want all the stages we could go and stand on just to shout and say, yo, I have value and you need it. All right. It's also going to affect the pricing. It's also going to affect, just the sheer drive that we approach, a problem with. And people will be blessed to have us. That
Yeah.
just going to be
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Joel, we need to do a program on what it takes to adopt relevant technology to your business. Perhaps next week we can do a deep dive into that. Because I do believe, the average person is saying to themselves, hey, to adopt relevant technology to put my business in a competitive edge is going to be capital intensive. Yes, it may be a little capital intensive. The bigger businesses will be able to run faster. But again, we spoke early on about relationship economics. And here is where, with relationship economics, it helps you to think differently.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can think now about equity. You can find a technology expert like yourself, and you can say, hey, I understand the value of technology and what technology can do, but I don't have, $1 million to pay you right now. But what if I give you equity?
Yeah.
because I know with equity in the operation, you're going to set up the systems, you're going to automate the systems, and the business is going to 10x in terms of cash flow because of the visibility program. So there are ways in which we have to help people to retool, reposition how they think, to not always see the problem. And part of what we want to do on this platform is to present the solution. And I think that I've just give two of them there.
Yeah, might I add something there, Gary? And it's a
Mhm.
powerful point that you shared, because persons might look at these things as, oh my, that's going to be capital intensive. But I want you to think about being capital freed for now, because there's so many models in really financing or building or scaling that sometimes it's just you getting out there and telling people that you need help, and realizing that there are solutions available to you now. If you have significant value and there's a market, then there's an opportunity to partner with someone. What a lot of persons have done in the past when they realize that, hey, I got value, I got market, but I probably don't have a developer. I probably don't have a software developer or a software engineer. I probably don't have someone who has innovation, you know, then go find that person. Go find that person. What you realize is that a lot of persons have been now co-founding businesses with developers, because when they realize the significance of the solution and realize that, hey, we need these kind of people, then they realize that, hey, i I can offer equity, I can offer this, I can offer that. So yeah, I think just come speak with us. You may be surprised at what you can do now and how fast you can get moving today without having to stress about where I'm going to get that cash from. Right? It's powerful.
Great. I love that, Joel. And I must also share this is part of what we are doing. There are many rising stars in business that we know really can't pay us. So what we're offering is to invest. We're coming in as private equity investors, where we're going to invest in those companies or in partnership, and we're going to invest in critical areas, and we're going to help that business to grow and cash flow optimize. And we're there for the long term, where we're going to take equity in that business. I must also say this to Joel. Many persons, when they hear, they're taking equity, they see that you're taking a slice of the cake. Um, and they just see that you're taking a slice of the cake. But what I would normally say to people, when the right private equity comes in, your business might have been making 10 cents. The right private equity investor is going to move you from 10 cents to $100. So if they take 20 cents from that $100, you're still making, $70 more than the business was actually making. So, these are all mindset that we have to change. And when you really want to position yourself to really, apply the principles of wealth builders, wealth builders don't see the obstacles in front of them, they see the solution and they go after those solutions. And that's what this platform is here for. And our community, we have so much of talents. You're thinking about building your real estate. We have engineers in our community. We have investors in our community. We have technology specialists in our community. We have economists in our community. We have person that's going to help you to write your best-selling books in our community. And that's what the power of relationship economics. All right. So I really want to, encourage persons who are viewing these programs to get into our communities, like Joel is saying, reach out to us. We have a high level of expertise to give you that support and to optimize your success. All right, I'll now come to Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank, are you hearing me? For some reason, Master Frank is not hearing. He seems to be having some difficulty every time I come to him.
Yeah, well, while we're waiting for Frank, I just thought about something that you mentioned, because we have a lot of, tech billionaires. And when we really look at the ownership, I don't think any of them own more than 10%. So it's like really looking at really what are you fighting for? Would you rather own or struggle to own one and don't know how to even hold it? Or would you rather own a slice of 100 and be financially free?
Exactly.
I want to be free.
Exactly. What I'm doing, Joel, I'm exercising tremendous patience, because I know that some parts of the world, they're not accustomed and familiar with, how financial instrument works and how to leverage it. So on our parts, we have to spend so much of time providing the information, the education, and we got to perhaps say it 100 times before persons get a true understanding of what we're saying. So we're here for the long term, and we're here to help and give support, and to ensure that people can really have the kind of information and the kind of support, because beyond the information is knowing that we have built our community to give the mentorship, the coaching, to give the sponsorship, and to ensure that people are in that supportive community that is nurturing, and really want to empower them to reach their highest good. So in the short and long term, we have a lot of work to do to bring people to the know, to the like, and the trust. And I'm certain that we will be able to get people over the hill. All right. So what I'm going to do now, Master Frank, are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Yes,
Finally.
that I don't ever.
I think it's Roland sabotaging you. You see a Roland sitting like a diplomat there. I think it's Roland sabotaging you.
When it comes to this guy, this guy beats his living daylights out to me, and I tell you. I just love this guy, man. He's welcome, brother Frank. How you doing?
All right. All right, Master Frank and Dr. Frank, I know you're actively involved in leadership. Can we talk about, what is modern leadership? I know we're now talking about catalyst leadership. And how do you think it can help people, businesses, and leaders to, reposition their thinking to foster collective impact? All to you, my friend.
Hi, good night. And when we talk about leadership, we're not just talking about a position. We're not just talking about a title. We are talking about you, a human who is willing in a leadership position to serve, to mentor, to treat with kindness and empathy, to develop others to be not like you, but better than you. And one of the things that people don't understand in leadership is that it's not a walk in the park. It's a lot of work. I was talking not so long ago to someone, and we were looking at the leadership in our world today, the leadership in our nation, the leadership in church, wherever you may consider you're a leader, even if you're the head of the family. And what you find that is leaders that are innovative, leaders that are creative, leaders who think futuristic, visionary leaders are able to have a situation or a country or a nation where everyone has a great standard of living. There was a time when I looked up to the United States and nobody could tell me anything about the United States negatively, because I put them in a position of leadership, right diplomacy, and so on. But as you got older and wiser, and you look at that kind of leadership and realize that, hey, it's not all that it's talked up to be. Then we realize that because of power, you can do whatever you want. Leadership is more than just having power of influence. How are you wielding your influence to make someone else better? Not to depress, not to oppress, but to make their standard of living, their lifestyle. There is something in the Scandinavian countries that are called the happiness quotient. The happiness quotient is basically causing the standard of living of citizens to be one of calm, peace, and tranquility. We must note that no matter what resources we have in a country, we must note that it's not about the intellect of the person. We must note that despite how progressive one may seem, if human resources are not taken care of, if human resources are not respected, the whole economy can crumble. And history has shown that where there are oppressive leaders, nations and citizens will rise up against that leadership. We've seen it over and over again. On the other hand, when there are nations who decide not to go with status quo, but to make their citizens better, and their authority is trampled upon by a greater power because of what we in international relations we call it the hegemony, there's a serious problem. And one must realize that as a leader, you must have not just a dream, not just a plan, but your dream, your plan must be intentional. Your plan must be able to work itself out into reality. We know daily, and I'm not going to call names because we want people to understand the importance of effective or catalyst leadership. Because when you have a leadership that stands strong and go against the grit, a leader that is truly called a leader where there's humility, there's servanthood, there's character, there's integrity. It's not just about a leader and having empty talk, but a leader who stands up for the right of people and its citizens. Man, that is where we're living the happiness quotient. That is where we're realizing our true potential as a nation. That is where we're realizing that we have something called a relationship economics, where one helps one to become better. And I'm proud to be part of this grouping because I'm learning from each other. I learned from Peter, I'm learning tech from the youngest man in the group, Joel, Dr. Warner. I'm learning how to eat the kinds of food for my blood group from Dr. Hudson. I'm learning how to do a plan and profit and to scale from Gary. And so with all these knowledge coming together and the experiences, the word of God says, iron sharpeneth iron. You make me better, you make me stronger. I'm thinking about that. There's a calypso song like that. We need to develop persons so that they can benefit from whatever wealth there is in society, whatever wealth there is in the nation. The resources of a nation is not just for one group of people, but for all persons. And I believe with all my heart that when we reach a stage where our citizens, our community, society is satisfied with leadership, and look, all dreams will be realized. If I'm a building a road and you see something patched, what we experience a lot of time is reactionary leadership and not visionary leadership, not futuristic thinking. And for me, I am not going to look at what construction you would have done. And times when the roads are being and I am serious when it comes to leading unity in society. And so tonight, if we don't go with anything else, be the catalyst leader that will change people for the better. Be the catalyst leader that will enhance standard of living, that will make a dream become possibility. And I think once we in that line, we will not fail. Or it's not about me being better than anybody else, because no one is better than anyone, despite what you have. But if you're a billionaire or a millionaire or a thousandaire or a hundredaire, whatever it is, I'm not better. Your intellect, the qualifications don't make you better than the next person. But what makes you better is if you can teach someone and show someone how to become a better person, how to gain wealth, how to transform the dream into reality, then you would have left a positive influence. You would have left a legacy, and that's what capitalist leadership is about. Leaving legacy, dying empty, so that nations, so that people can have a better standard of living, can become prosperous. I thank you, and I yield.
Frank is on fire, my friends. Thanks for sharing, Dr. Frank. It's great to have the doctor in the house. All right. This is Save the Best for last. I really love the passion that you brought out there in terms of emphasizing the importance of having great leaders around. And, I really enjoy that presentation. All right, folks, we are at the top of the hour, and I want to acknowledge our listening and viewing audience. Today, you're looking at the Wealth Builders Blueprint, and of course, any attempt to build wealth. I don't want you to focus on the money. What I want you to focus on is how you are going to go about to nurture healthy, productive relationship that represents the interests of the collective. All right. There's tremendous wealth that lies in fostering genuine, relationships where you're deeply connecting with people. Or you're not coming in for the money. You're coming in to add value. That's what a great leader do. All right. That is what the wealth builders do, and that's part of the Wealth Builders Blueprint. All right. So I want to just give everyone a chance to give their closing remarks as we begin to wrap up tonight's program. Or let me start with Master Scott, Peter Scott, out of the U.S. And Your closing thoughts, my friend?
Yes, Gary. But again, I'm just appreciative of all the responses that we have received this evening about nutrition. I think Joel mentioned about CES, and I went over to see what was happening on that tech show, and it's yes, indeed, to see the number of innovations that are coming into the marketplace. We need take a, realize that in this marketplace in which we're in, we can compete with the biggest players in the market. Technology is giving us that kind of access, and thank for Claremont as well, and for each of us putting our understanding together. Where I'm concerned, to be a part of a process such as this, what I want to get across to even those who are listening today, because a lot of times individuals, they do not recognize the value. So they think that to become an investor, I need to have a great deal of income or revenue coming in. But what I like to tell individuals is just to start with the space between your ears, start with your intellect, start with that good idea that they have. And if they can start with that great idea that they have, and then they come into an environment like this where they can talk to a tech expert, and they have a business development expert, and then they have a leadership expert. And like you're saying, it's better to have 1% of a billion or $1 million instead of having 100% of 100% of $1,000.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
when we're able to, so there is nothing stopping us. There's really no, and as you spoke about relationship economy, that's where we are now, because that will advance us further, faster, to achieve our goals. So thank you, Gary, and great job.
Great to have you again, Peter, as usual. It's actually been a decade now since we have been connected, and we're definitely breaking some new grounds in the US. I'm gonna join you there shortly. We got a massive work to get done. All right, I'm gonna now come to Joel.
Hey, thank you so much, Gary. As always, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to an audience, even though you may not be seeing them on the other side. The beauty about this platform is that you know that you're reaching people. And somewhere, somehow, there's going to be somebody who's going to say, you know what, something these people said or this guy said made sense. And that can be the difference between a dead company that could have brought significant impact into the world or an actual company that is changing lives. And I want to be a part of that history, that story, right? And we all have stories, and we're here to help somebody start theirs, right? To help somebody ignite the fire and to show them that it's possible, and they have a support system in us that they can reach out to persons who have really been through some stuff when it comes to business. And definitely there are challenges. We've not leaped over any of them, all right, but we've really been able to see a lot of things as we continue to build our own, or as we continue to own our own value. And we want persons to be able to do the same. All right. So, yep.
All right, thanks for that share. Um, Minister Joel, always great having you here. I'm going to now come to Roland. Are you with me, Roland? Your last thought?
Yes,
Okay.
indeed. I'm with you. You're hearing me loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Yes, definitely. There's synergy in this group, and we are doing fantastic things. Just listening to Brother Frank not too long. Oh, Dr. Frank, for me to be precise. I don't want to rattle his cage unnecessarily. But yes, I'm listening to Brother Joel about the technology stuff, and then our brother who was introduced to us earlier. Can't remember his name now. Forgive me for that. But
Peter Scott.
Peter.
Scott.
Yes, Peter. Yeah, I got a good friend also named Scott. So how could I forget? Anyway, yes, just a couple of things. Just simple. If your body truly could not heal, you wouldn't survive a cut. Just imagine if your body could not heal, you wouldn't survive a cut. Healing did not disappear. It didn't abandon you. It didn't fail. It got overwhelmed. And overwhelmed systems don't need punishment. They need support. So health and wellness is the new health, is the new wealth. We need to support systems in our bodies that were designed by the Creator for us to survive this world. And by so doing, we can have a better life, quality of life to enjoy the wealth that is abundant in the world for us. And looking at it from that standpoint, I intend to stay as healthy as I can to enjoy what is being offered in God's world. So to my brothers listening, to my sisters in the world, and my brothers on the platform here with me, it's good to know you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for that share, Roland. Dr. Frank, I'm all to you. Your closing thoughts?
Thank you, Gary. And it's indeed a pleasure to have this to be a part of this group. Y'all make me feel more of a man, like so. It's great. I like the synergy. One of the things I must state is that as we help one another, as we help society at large, nothing that we have done will go unpaid. We will be able to leave a legacy of prosperity, a legacy of building wealth, a legacy of stronger economic relations. And as I look to the future, my eyes burn for the brightness that I'm seeing. And so as we continue to build on the synergy in this group, it's my fervent hope and prayer that we get from strength to strength. I pray that you guys have a wonderful weekend and a blessed Sunday. See you in church. Take care.
All right, thanks again, everyone. And remember, if you need access to capital, we can help you access capital in all 50 states in the US. In the Caribbean, we are now thinking about how we can do collaboration with companies in strategic ways. We will talk more about that. But in concluding, I want to say this, I want to come back to relationship economics. As you attempt to start and scale your 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure brand, relationship economics can get you there. As you ask yourself, how can you position yourself to build wealth? Relationship economics can get you there. And I just want to leave you with a few thoughts that relationship economics expose you to. One of the things that relationship economics talk about is identify a value relationship. And what I'm saying here is to identify people that you intentionally want to build relationship with, especially if you're in business. In business, you're not in business to play. You're in business to add value, fix problems, and to ensure that you can experience the benefit of doing so. So it's necessary that you identify strategic relationship that you can build. I want to also emphasize that you should build trust. And one of the ways in which you build trust is by contributing to the environment that you're going into. You're not going as a taker. You're not going as a beggar. You're going as a contributor. Third, I want you to focus on creating shared value. Value is not about me, myself, and I. Value is about the collective. And the more you focus on the collective is the more you win. And last, as you start to build influence, I want you to also focus on share, scale, and convert influence. It is something that could be scaled and it's something that can be converted. As time progresses, I'll talk more about what are some of more. I'll go deeper into what we call the Wealth Builders Blueprint. It's a very deep content, but I'll just leave you with some food for thoughts until we come back again next week. Next week, I want to look at capital markets, and I will go deep into what I call the lowest hanging fruit to capital, which is the credit financial market. So next week, you will know the ins and outs of credit capital market and practical steps that you can take immediately after listening to our program to start to access capital. And if you get difficulty doing this on your own, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you. With that being said, I want to say good night to all the viewers and listeners from around the world. It has been such a pleasure having you here with us, and I trust that you had fun, and we look forward to doing this again with you next week. Be blessed. See you soon.